Hey, I'm Inga Cotton. I'm the founder executive director of San Antonio Charter Moms, and these are Charter Moms chats on weekday mornings. We are offering resources to help parents adapt to COVID and keep their kids learning. And this summer we've had lots of ideas for activities, and we've been partnering with local organizations to bring their expertise into our guide. So here's, if you go to sachartermoms.com summer-learning, this is our kind of event. It's like an event calendar, and there's, for each day you can click on a different activity. And so today our guest is Lisa Cunningham, who's the executive director at the San Antonio Education Partnership, which they have a bunch of wonderful programs, but one in particular, Cafe College, we're going to talk about a bit today. So Lisa's background, so she's from San Antonio. She's connected to the community, is passionate about helping San Antonio. Her belief is that education is the great equalizer. And so she wants to help kids to access college and career pathways that will open up the bright futures for them. So she has worked as a teacher, as a kindergarten and preschool teacher. She worked at the, was it the Bexar County Family Justice?
Family Justice Center, yeah.
Family Justice Center, right? Okay. And she has two daughters, Madison and Haley, and she has a tiny rescue dog named Charlie.
Yeah.
So
we may make an appearance.
We've had some really cute puppy cameos on Charter Moms chats. So yes, you would be quite welcome. So Lisa, thank you for being on Charter Moms chats with us. And the activity that we're talking about today is how parents can talk to their kids, even young children, about college and career. And you have great ideas for getting that discussion going, making it age appropriate, and leveraging resources in the community. So let me ask you, why is it important for families to start talking to their kids about college and career, even from an early age?
Sure. Well, I think you nailed it when you said education is the ultimate equalizer. I think that this is simple activities and just kind of creating a culture, like a college-going culture in your home, anybody can do. And I am a firm believer in making post-secondary access and success a possibility for everybody, no matter where you come from. And so I've just got a few little ideas, really from cradle to career, of ways to encourage your kids. I've been there. I know it's tough. I've got, like you said, two daughters, one who just graduated high school and one who's graduating college in, hopefully, fingers crossed, in December. And so really, I know that it can be challenging to address some of these issues. It's an overwhelming process. But if you're consistent with your message at home, even the most subtle mentions can really make a huge impact on kids, and kind of plant little seeds early in life that it's a possibility for them. And that their dreams can come true. I don't want to wax poetic, but it's true. And as parents, it's really our obligation to be the facilitators, even when they're little bitty.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that I really enjoyed about the post that you wrote. Oh, and the link to the post is in the description of the video. So you can access it through the, that calendar page. It's the June 30th activity, but also in the description of this video, I encourage listeners to click through and read the post. So you said you worked as a preschool and kindergarten teacher, and so your suggestion for getting the conversation going and creating this like post-secondary culture at home is dramatic play and dress up. So tell us more about that. Like, how does that get kids thinking about careers?
Yeah, it sounds so simplistic, but I really believe in the power of play. I think for little bitty kids, especially when they're put in a classroom setting, maybe they don't get to play as much. So when they're at home, I think encouraging dramatic play, playing with them, talking to them about what they're doing, and then, like I said, being the facilitator, providing them like a little dress-up drawer where you have different who knows what in there. I used to go to like Target right after Halloween and buy all the costumes and everything you've got there for them that can really spark their creativity. It helps to really develop relationships. It helps them to dream. It helps them to really ignite whatever passion might be hidden inside of them. And it can be just as simple as having like a little career dress up drawer, whatever you have at your house, a corner with a basket full of, you know, old Halloween costumes can be what starts those conversations. And it's up to, I think, really up to parents to start having those conversations early. And then not as fun, but can be, start talking about money early too, and saving for college. One of the easiest ways to do that is just through consistent reminders that when you earn money through allowance, that you save a portion of it. And that's, you know, depending on what the family decides that percentage would be. But the earlier you do it, the more the child starts to kind of expect it, and it just becomes ingrained in them.
Mm-hmm. We had a few weeks ago, we had a post about teaching kids about financial responsibility, and that post has some great ideas. And I'll add I hadn't made that connection, but I'll add the link to it to the post so that families can see the connection. But oh yeah, we have a fan.
Oh hey,
Akila. Thanks for watching, Akila. And that, yeah, I like in the post, you talk about the, you know, like while kids are playing dress up, and then you can ask them about what they're dressing up as, and then you can introduce the idea. So like if they say, well, I'm a doctor, I'm going to be a doctor someday, and then you can plant the seed that, okay, well, to be a doctor, that means that, you know, like all doctors go to college and they go to medical school, and so then you're connecting up the dream with the steps that it takes to get there.
Exactly.
And the hard work that you have to put in to get there, but it's really a worthwhile goal.
Right, and I'm glad you brought that up, because what better time than now to start talking about community helpers and really addressing it when you see them, whether it's on TV, in a movie, or just out in your front yard when we have workers come over or whatever. You talk to your children about how you get to be that person, and then engage with the community helpers. Go to fire stations and see them and see the fire trucks. I know there's not a lot we can do safely right now, but there's some pretty creative parents out there, and I know we're all getting stir crazy. So really use the community and yes, start having those leading conversations where you're talking to them about the process. So that's the first career pathways discussions you're having with your child.
Yeah, and so in the post you talk about, like, for kids who are kind of in that middle grades range, that having conversations with family members, or even you know, like one thing that we've talked about on Charter Moms Chats and in the activities is like reaching out to other generations of your family as well. You know, bringing them involved, even if it's over Zoom instead of in person, because we have to be safe. But you know, like talking to family members about their jobs and what they do at their work and how they got there. You know, that's a way to you know, to pass on these stories and pass on these ideas about, you know, the hard work that leads to the career that you want.
Right, and that's a tricky age because they see through everything. So if you're not truly modeling like a love for lifelong learning, or bringing authentically conversations into, you know, the dinner table, they will see right through it. So I think that's where you do, like you said, use family and friends. The most valuable part of that is because the child then can see themselves in that person. They see someone who came from the same neighborhood or same background, same race, ethnicity, same neighborhood, and they see them succeed. What better way to instill the value that this is possible and hard work can lead to whatever result that is. And yeah, I think that this is where it really does start to get kind of tricky. So using other people is valuable. Bring them to Cafe College. Hopefully next summer we can have our summer camps again, where we bring in community members and do demonstrations and start having those real conversations about career pathways and their own experiences, and just model being a lifelong learner. They really, you can't do that like do as I say, not as I do kind of mentality. They will see right through it. So yeah, I think it's really important if a parent has a positive attitude about their own work and their own college experience, that will really translate and become a part of who that child is.
Yeah. So this summer there are virtual camps, and the link to that is in the blog post. So it's at cafécollege.com/events is the way.
Yes.
Yeah. But that's, I mean, you guys are being creative and doing, working with what you can, since it's safer to do virtual camps right now.
Yeah, we've had to. Everything is virtual, but it's working. I mean, really, kids need help right now, and they're still getting college advice, virtually like this. So just everybody else.
Yeah. So on the so at Cafe College, I guess like pre-pandemic, there would have been like students so we have some photos in the blog post about like teenagers coming to the center, and then like they would get talk to college advisors in groups, or they could meet one-on-one with college advisors. And then there's certain hours of the day, I guess, but so that will come again. But in the meantime, right, the college advising services are still available. It's just that they have to be set up virtually, right? They go to the website, and
yeah.
I think there's
and
a Google
we'll
form
reach out afterwards. Yeah, and we meet them wherever they are. We'll just whatever platform they're using. Sometimes a simple phone call can really, help them over a hurdle with financial aid, verification, all that complicated stuff. So
Yeah. Well, what kinds of things are you hearing from teenagers? Like, what kind of questions do they have? And are there any questions that they have that are different now during the coronavirus era that maybe I don't know, or is it, do they have the same kinds of questions now that they did?
Well, some of it's the same. It's all a similar application process, but again, a lot of different colleges and universities have waived some of the requirements or extended deadlines. There's some different things that we can do to help a student if their own financial situation has changed because of coronavirus. If mom or dad or both, God forbid, have lost their jobs, maybe they filled out their financial aid form back in the fall when things looked very different, and now they may need a little more assistance. Or they could be shifting gears completely. They could be looking at the fall and saying, okay, I'm not going to go away to school. What does that mean? Or maybe I am going away to school, but do I still want that? We're really blessed here in San Antonio. We have so many incredible higher ed institutions right in our backyard. So for some families, they may determine that is what's right. They could be shifting kind of last minute. We're really seeing June and July are always our busiest months anyway, and we're just fielding a lot of questions, and not just from high school kids, juniors and seniors, but current college students. We can help them even if you're already enrolled in a program, and maybe you're looking at shifting. Maybe the industry you were kind of had your eye on has suffered a huge loss in all of this, and anyway, we're here trying our best to answer all of these the questions that students have, and some of them we're even helping their parents too. We help all ages, so we have a program dedicated to adults that have some college and no credentials. So yeah, really call us if you need help or have a question. Those advisors are experts in all things college access.
Yeah, and then so you can go to the Cafe College website. That's got the phone number on it. That's got the forms so they can set up the advising appointments and things like that, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a little pop-up that comes up. But yeah, back to the discussion on, because all of that is so important, but creating that college-going culture at home with high schoolers, it's never too late. If you didn't talk about college until they were, a sophomore in high school, it's not too late to start having those discussions. I think that it's important no matter what. And college visits, our local colleges and universities love to host students and do a fantastic job really getting them excited. So that's another tool parents can use. And really, now more than ever, grades are important, but they're not the only thing. I think wellness, schools are starting to really look at more the whole individual, who they're bringing on their campus and enrolling in their program. So enrolling in those extracurricular activities, working on your essay. Our college advisors will do that too. They'll help students with their essays and applications. Also, all the extras that kind of we think are fluff are becoming more important now.
I can see for parents how having another person who's not just the parent, that could be really helpful. That if like, so one thing you talk a lot about in the post is like giving parents like prompts or like better ways to ask the questions, especially interacting with teenagers, so that they don't feel like the question is like really directed, pointed, or like really putting them on the spot.
Yeah.
You know, and right. So Cafe College has, people with expertise, who are not mom or dad, who can talk to kids about these things. But even like as mom, as dad, you've got suggestions about, ways to bring these issues without making them feel attacked or I don't know, under too much pressure.
Well, yeah, and they shut down if you ask a question wrong. So I think just differently, going back to that semantics, like when they were little, it's not if you go to college, it's when you go to college, right? And when they get older, it turns into not what are you going to do about this low GPA. Instead, it's do you want to talk to a Cafe College advisor on the phone, or are you going to Zoom? Or when can I expect to see that SAT class prep sign up? Things like that, like questions where they have to, it's almost an understood, not mom, I'm not doing that. Instead, it's this or that, or a when question, when can I expect that? And then also, I've heard this several times. It's worked in my home. It's worked for my friends, to put up visual reminders for your student. Ultimately, it's their responsibility, and I know that's hard. But to put up a calendar with a reminder, so you have visual reminders for them. They see it, they know when the deadline is for, XYZ college, and it's ultimately up to them. But also remember at that point, like, fit first, right? If they're not fit to go to a 4-year, especially right out of the gate, some kids aren't ready to go to a 4-year. I can tell you, when I was 18, I went away to UT, and I don't think I was ready. It's okay. Some kids just take a little longer. So really, that's where, to your point, having somebody come in, or bringing them to Cafe College, or having them call an advisor, they hear it from somebody else. Like, here's some other options. If you don't think a 4 year's right for you right now, maybe a certificate program might be. The Alamo colleges have incredible programs, and really some high demand, high wage jobs that only require a certificate. That may be what's right for them at this time. So I think it's all about options. Talking about that career fluidity, there's a possibility you can change. I think there's so much anxiety at that age. Like, I don't know what I want to be. That's okay. I started off as a classroom teacher, and now I'm at a nonprofit. Like, yes, it's still an education, but my career has kind of made some swings, and that's all right.
Yeah. I thought I was going to be a lawyer, and I realized I did not enjoy being a lawyer. But in my nonprofit work, I used the persuasive writing, and I used the research and the writing skills. And so, like, going to law school, it was on the right path. It's just that setting of being in a law firm wasn't the right place for me. But it took a while. It took out in the world and getting experience and talking to people for me to become aware that there were like lots of other things you can do with a law degree with that set of skills.
And that's so valuable to tell those stories, and tell those stories to your friends' kids also, because I think there is that antiquated notion, because a lot of our parents and grandparents maybe worked at the same desk for 30 or 40 years and retired, and that was what was expected at that time. That is not the world we live in. And I think, especially given the pandemic that's ongoing and the effects it's had on our economy, we owe it to our children to give them that flexibility and to allow them to explore on their own and try things and fail. It's okay to fail. I mean, there's a reason that I'm in my position and you're in your position. We tried things and failed, and our kids need to know that that's a possibility for them.
Yeah, yeah, and that failing actually opens up new possibilities to create something new, and that right, it's not the end of the world. Yeah, yeah, that we can all, I think, and that goes back to something you said, like you mentioned, having visual reminders about deadlines for students, and that like really, I think so. I'm at the stage, I have a 10-year-old and a 12, almost 13-year-old, and at that stage, I'm still showing them a lot of things, but I'm trying to prepare for the time when they're teenagers, when it's really a lot more of it is on them, right? And so like I'm trying to do things like instead of after dinner telling them, okay, now go take out the trash, now go do this, now go check, instead, like I made a checklist for each of them, and they're supposed to follow the checklist, and then that makes sure that all the evening chores get done. And I like it better because then I'm not arguing or negotiating with them about what to do. And they have a sense of what's expected of them, and then when it gets done, then they get praised. So it doesn't always work smoothly, but but it's a step along the way, right? Yeah. And I think like what you suggest in the post is that like you instead of like bugging them, like, okay, where's your draft of your essay? Did you create a login for this? Did you fill out that form? Instead, it's more like you map things out for them, you give them reminders, give them checklists, put them in touch with a college advisor, and then you kind of have to step back and give them autonomy in the process, because then hopefully we get it done, but without so much resentment or without them shutting down or having like blow up fights about it, right? But I can't speak from experience yet because I don't have teenagers yet, almost. but I'm trying to map out like, what is the constructive way to do this so that like the goals get accomplished, but it's not this battle of wills, and it's also not a child being like, kind of propped up along the way by an adult. It's more like, this is their chance to stretch and try to accomplish things for themselves, feel proud of what they've done. And if they make mistakes, they're teenagers and the consequences are severe, right?
Right, exactly. And yeah, I think you're on the right track. Those checklists are brilliant. So instead, once they get a little bit older and you have that calendar up, have them help you create the dates, or they even write it on there when it's due. And then just let them know once you're done, cross it off, put an X on it, scratch it out, whatever. Then I'll see that and know you did it, and I won't be bothering you all the time. Sound good? And then they'll be like, thank God, Mom's going to be off my back. Yeah. And so they'll know that that's how they visually are telling. So it's almost like you both have visual cues, and there can be very little communication about it. Of course, they know, like if it's an SAT prep class that costs money, they'll obviously talk to you about that. But other than that, you really are kind of hands off, which is the ultimate goal. We're trying to make these little humans grow up into responsible adults, and that doesn't involve us holding their hand the whole time. So, yeah, you're on the right track.
Thank you. It makes me nervous, but I figure, well, as adults we make mistakes, and then we can reflect on that and be like, what, that conversation didn't go well because I was being too controlling, and I need to try to get a different approach next time, right? And it really helps to talk to folks like you, like you're raising teenagers, right? You have a high school graduate, you have a student-to-be college graduate, and the college advisors can help. I can talk to friends of mine who have kids who are a little bit older and say like, okay, what worked for you? And like, okay, now I need to try that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big believer. Like when I was a teacher, you're only as good as the teacher next door. I mean, every good idea I have because I've either failed miserably and learned from it, or I have friends who, picked me up and said, this is a better way, Lisa. So yeah, I mean, it's all about sharing ideas and being a community and supporting each other. And I really do believe if we have more college-going cultures in the home early, all across this community, it's going to make a huge impact in 5, 10, 15 years, and just consistently, and that'll make for real generational change that will transform our community. We struggle here in San Antonio with poverty, and we've got to start having these conversations in the home because it is possible. These post-secondary programs are so possible and mean that your child will be set up for success. And now more than ever, it's so important.
Yeah, that is really a beautiful vision. That's consistent with, like for San Antonio Charter Moms, like the core of what we do is helping families look at like pre-K through 12 options and where they can enroll their kids. What schools is the best fit? What are the higher performing schools? And what San Antonio Education Partnership does really complements that, because you're helping, right? The conversations start early, right? But you're providing these resources so that like once the kids get a solid K through 12 education, they can unlock the certifications or like the 2-year colleges, the 4-year colleges, that will, really help them, have that, like, they can fulfill their dreams, like whatever, it starts with like little kids playing dress up and putting on the leftover Halloween costumes, right? And then it turns into these young adults who are going out and doing amazing things, right? And some of them are being the community helpers who are, going to help our community make it through this crisis.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's really possible for everyone. And that, I think, back to education being the ultimate equalizer. It doesn't stop when you get that diploma after 12th grade. It doesn't stop, and it shouldn't stop. And I really think if anybody listening to this is curious, whether it's for you or your child or your sister, friend, whoever, give us a call. I've seen our advisors work some incredible magic. They helped my daughter last fall when I'm noticing that, she wasn't moving on a lot of the college application process and taking a few things for granted. I had her go down there and talk to Myra, and Myra worked her magic, and she got all of her scholarship applications in, and I didn't have to do anything. So really, it's so important, and I appreciate you and your platform and the dedication you have to all of our families, because it's tough. It's tough to raise kids, and especially with all of the challenges we're facing now and uncertainty for the fall. We need you. So thank you.
Yeah. Well, our Facebook discussion group, we have over 6,500 parents in there, and they're sharing resources with each other. And I hope that more of them are aware of Cafe College after watching this video. So I'm going to fly up the banners again. So Lisa Cunningham is the executive director at San Antonio Education Partnership, and they have a variety of programs to help people achieve success through getting post-secondary education. But the one we've talked about most today was cafécollege.org. And so if you've been hearing her message about that they have college advisors, and then even they're not doing face-to-face meetings right now, but they're doing virtual meetings. So you can go to the cafécollege.org website, you can fill out the form and get an appointment. They have a phone number, and like Lisa said, they will whatever format your teenagers are comfortable in. If it's Zoom or then they'll find a way to connect with them and answer their questions. So like you said, that there's a lot of uncertainty right now, but kids, they still want to go to college and fulfill their dreams, and whether it's financial aid or maybe going locally instead of going out of state, the college has the resources to help.
Exactly. Yeah. Well said, Inga. Thank you.
Okay. Any closing thoughts before we kind of wrap up and send people on their way to go have college conversations at home at the dress-up box?
Well, don't put too much pressure on yourself. I mean, parenting is, what do they say? It's a marathon, not a sprint. Truly, like, you don't have to start immediately. Start to think about it. Maybe just be aware that it is something that starts at home, and we owe it to our kids. We owe it to their kids and their kids' kids to start this college going culture and encourage them. Be the facilitator and just have casual conversations. Take them to college games. God willing, we can go see the Longhorns play someday. But all those little things add up, like everything else. And the love that you have for your child will just continue and carry them through, so that they can be successful adults. So good luck, everybody out there I know it's hard.
Yeah, that is, Lisa, that is a great message. Very, very well said. I think very inspiring. And I encourage everybody, go to the description, click through, read the blog post, and there's wonderful resources in there that will help you have these conversations with your kids at all ages and make it as casual and low key as possible. Right?
Yeah, you don't scare them off.
Yeah, great. Okay, well, thank you so much, Lisa.
Okay, bye, Inga. Have a great day.